Radical Islamic preacher Abu Hamza al-Masri and 4 other suspects are back in the U.S. this morning to face terrorism charges. Their planes arrived during the night outside New York and in Connecticut. Al-Masri had been in a British high-security prison since 2004, but on Friday, all of their appeals ran out, and Britain's High Court ordered them extradited to the U.S. immediately. Bob Orr is in Washington, and Bob, good morning to you. I want to understand, who is Abu Hamza?
Good morning, Rebecca, and good morning, Anthony. Well, Abu Hamza is a leading radical Islamic cleric. He's been one of the leading voices for radical Islam dating back to the 1990s. Best known, perhaps, for his fiery preaching in a North London mosque, which was favored in the past by al-Qaeda operatives like Richard Reed and the 9/11 conspirator Zacarias Moussaoui. Al-Masri, he's been in a British jail, frankly, since 2004. He's been charged by the U.S. government in a series of plots. One thing, he's accused of conspiring to kidnap American tourists in 1998. Also, he's accused of trying to set up an al-Qaeda training camp in Oregon in 1999. And in general, he's charged with aiding al-Qaeda and Taliban efforts in Afghanistan.
Bob, how come it has taken so long to bring al-Masri to the United States?
This has been a long fight, Anthony. He's been fighting extradition since his indictment because he knows, frankly, that he faces a likely life sentence here in the U.S. One of his alleged co-conspirators who was involved in that Oregon training camp plot I talked about has already been convicted, and he's sentenced to life in prison. Al-Masri is an interesting character. He lost both hands and one eye, he says, fighting the Soviets in Afghanistan, and he says that he suffers a number of physical ailments. He lists diabetes and depression among them. And his supporters have argued that al-Masri, if he came to the U.S., would be subjected to human rights violations in prison. So they've used all of those arguments over the years to really drag this thing out.
And Bob, who are the other suspects who have been brought back to the U.S. with al-Masri?
2 of them are accused of terrorist financiers. Their cases in Connecticut. And the other 2, frankly, are more important. They're accused of playing very big roles in the bombings of the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. Adel Berry and Khalid Fawaz are their names. They're charged with conspiring to kill Americans, and Berry is also accused of attempting to use a weapon of mass destruction. People probably remember the 1998 attack. Up to the point it was al-Qaeda's largest. The twin bombings of the embassies in East Africa caused the deaths of more than 220 people. As you probably know, a number of other al-Qaeda operatives have already been convicted in the embassy bombing case. Now these 2 fellows will also go on trial.
Ultimately, Bob, why are these cases so important to U.S. prosecutors?
Well, you know, probably the biggest thing, Anthony, is this is another chance for the Department of Justice to prove that terror prosecutions can be handled effectively and successfully in civilian courts. And the other thing, too, is that the prosecution of Abu Hamza is really important because it counters the radical Islamic narrative. He's been a leading propagandist, a big recruiter, and frankly, a successful prosecution on American soil will effectively silence his voice for a long time, striking another big blow against al-Qaeda. Anthony?
Bob Orr in Washington. Thank you, Bob.